Well, hello and welcome to Caching in the Northwest. You know, this is the official podcast of GeoWoodstock 18 right here in the great Pacific Northwest. Each week, we're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from all around the globe. So while you're stuck in the snow on Forest Service roads, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
Hitting close to home there. Yeah, it's April, but there's still snow up there in them Nar Hills. But of course, it's Thursday night at 9, which means it's time to bring in our searching simian. Some say he is proof that your face will freeze that way. And others say seaweed wraps lift his spirits. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down. All we know is he's called a land monkey.
And I do appreciate you coming around.
Thank you.
Help me get my feet back on the ground.
There you go. Good name for a boat.
Kelp me, Rhonda.
Kelp
Oh,
me.
I mean, land monkey.
Very fun. Hey, those who are watching us live have noticed that there's somebody in the quadrant below me. It's the Land Sharks. Welcome back to the show, Chris and Helen.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Pleasure to be here, as always.
We're glad to have you, and we're gonna talk about how the heck do I activate a trackable. I think most people probably know the basics, but once you get past the first step of like, oh, it's activated, there's a bunch of finicky stuff that I get caught up on, and I can never remember what's what. And so we're gonna go through this, and the Land Sharks are gonna help us get it all straight. That's the plan, anyways. No pressure.
We'll try.
We'll try.
No, we'll try.
We'll
We'll get it straighter. We'll get it all curvy, one way or the other.
Okay.
Get it sharky.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, you know what? Speaking of Shark Day, a quick reminder that we appreciate the support of our patrons who help to keep this podcast coming each and every week. And a special thanks to these guys. Land Sharks, our corporate sponsor. Thank you, guys. We really appreciate your sponsorship of this.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank
it's great to support something that's so cool.
It is
And
so cool.
I think so important in this area too, because you guys do a real good service for all the listeners. Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually having a promotion this weekend to celebrate our 15th anniversary, 15 years in business.
Wow,
so
congratulations.
Thank you. April the 10th is our 15-year anniversary, and we're going to be having some celebration stuff. And there'll be a prize, a good-sized prize, one of the bigger prizes we've offered. So just watch our social media, and you can have an opportunity to win.
Very cool. Everybody loves a contest.
Yep.
Yep.
All
This one
right.
comes with free shipping too.
Ooh, that's the best
To the
kind.
U.S.?
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Once they open the
If
border.
you win.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Once the borders open, they can ship it to you.
Yeah.
Well, once the border's open, hell, we'd like to bring it to you.
There you go. Yeah, no kidding, right?
We'll meet you. Yeah.
Sounds great.
Boy.
All right. Well, folks, if you want to know more, that's right. That's all,
Easy
folks.
for you to say.
If you want to know more about supporting this show, click that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website.
There it is.
Kelp land monkey.
Please.
Yeah.
That's right. Hey, I've got a little audio play tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just jump into it. We'll all make faces as the audio plays by. Ready? Here we go. This is a Caching in the Northwest field report. I'm doing an actual field recording. If you listen, you can hear the birds in the field. I'm here with Terrible Tees and MC3 Cats. And guys, what have we done today?
We cleaned up a bunch of garbage to get our 17,000th find today to be the locationless cache.
17,000 finds. Holy cow.
Yep. And we decided to pick our section of road here. We have, the WSJ has adopted a section of road here, and it's the Puget Sound chapters section. So we do CETOs on this stretch of road here in Kent. However, the program's been shuttered due to COVID. So we are decided to get a solo group of a couple of cachers together to clean up in honor of our 17,000th. And we had a blast.
We had a good time, even in the rain.
Yeah, it was a good time. We got enough garbage to feel like we did something good, cleaned up. We got folks that stopped by and said, thank you for doing this.
Yep.
So, I mean, we've made an impact. We were able to promote the WSGA and the organization. So, good time was had by all.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go. Each of those gentlemen had 17,000 finds each. That's 34,000 finds for you and me.
Yeah.
That's
That's a lot.
That's
And,
crazy.
you know,
How many is that in dog finds?
Times 7.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if we multiply by 7 or divide by 7.
Yeah, it's a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Puget Sound rep, I hear he's a pretty good guy. Really
I've heard
experienced.
He's my favorite MC. All right.
No, he's the president. Your favorite MC.
He's the presidente.
El
He's
Presidente.
El Presidente.
Yeah, the
So.
Puget Sound region rep is another Chris.
Oh, okay. I was getting the folks mixed up. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
you
you
know,
were.
all those Chris's.
Too many.
Yeah,
You can't have
no,
too
I
many.
mean, you have to hold an event with 7 or 8 Chris's. It's just the way
Yeah.
things work out.
Or 17,000.
Or
There
17,000.
you go.
That might be too many.
I don't know. We might have to rent like a dome for that.
The Chris Dome.
Yeah, it's a Chris Con.
17,000 Chris's come in. One Chris leaves.
Oh,
Oh, no, that's not going to work.
Oh, I think it's a great idea. I'd pay to watch it.
Huh. All right. Hey, folks, if you want to pay to watch, if you want to
We already
contribute
covered that
to
part.
tonight's chat, use the hashtag TB. I made it really simple for you tonight. A hashtag in 2 letters. That's 3 keystrokes for the count of diff. So really easy tonight. Hashtag TB to ask the Land Sharks questions. And of course, you can use hashtag FATAS to throw things in the after show, like maybe an upcoming event.
what?
Things are starting to move.
Event?
Wow.
Imagine that.
I've heard of those.
All right. Well, hey,
Back in the old days.
Yeah.
speaking of newsworthy things like events, it's National Wildlife Week.
Ooh.
Oh,
So-
wild.
Go give a raccoon a hug.
Or a goat.
I would,
Or a
They're not wild. Well, not around here.
a goat is better than a raccoon. Never hug a raccoon.
Trash pandas love hugs. All right. All right. It's National Wildlife Week, and what better way to celebrate than playing a game that is not only fun and family friendly, but it also helps protect local wildlife. Now this is interesting. How does this protect local wildlife besides hugging trash pandas? All right. All you need is your phone and your favorite pair of Wall King shoes. It's called Crossing Paths with Carnivores. That sounds family friendly.
Yeah, let's go hug a carnivore.
I don't know, but now I'm hungry.
Go back to the
Well-
trash panda.
Well, it's part of the Adventure Labs geocaching games created by Woodland Park Zoo's Carnivore Coexistence Action Team and the Issaquah Highlands Council.
Very good.
All right.
Former Siri.
That's right. Those who don't get that joke probably have to go back about 200 episodes. All right. The 12th stop adventure will lead you to find clues, solve puzzles, and complete adventures one location at a time. The journey highlights interesting locations in Issaquah Highlands while providing players with information about local carnivores and tips on what you can do to keep your family safe if unexpected encounters occur.
Ooh.
Dun, 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 dun.
3ham wants to know, can I just hug my teenage boys? They smell like wild animals.
Yes,
I
that'll
was
work.
going to say, yes, please absolutely hug your boys.
Yes. And Bryling says, don't forget to hug a bear.
Just be careful what bear you hug.
How about a skookum bear?
There you go.
I think
He's
that's
so
what he's getting at. We'll review caches for hugs.
That's right. Hey, folks, I just wanted to let you in on some of our comments on our YouTube page. Just Finding Our Way commented. I was 10 days late watching this, talking about the episode 400. We just had 400 episodes, folks. Oh, thank you. There's the 400. And they go to say Marina was a rock star.
And I'd like to say she still is.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. I'll text her and let her know.
Okay.
I'm not sure if her head will fit through doorways now, but
we'll find out shortly.
Okay.
Keep
Nikki
going on
also,
texting her and letting her know that she's a rock star.
okay. And while you're there, go ahead and put a comment on the YouTube page.
Yeah, and anybody else in the chat that has her phone number, text her at the same time.
We'll put her phone number up on the screen right now.
I wasn't going to go that far, but I bet there's somebody else in the chat that has her number.
Okay, that's not creepy. Let's go on to say, also Nikki says, thanks guys. Tuning in for the first time from Vancouver Island. North. Vancouver Island North. Yeah. Very entertaining. So there you go. How long is Vancouver Island?
Long.
It's like
it's at least a week long. It's at least a week long.
About 6 hours.
Okay.
Is it more than one time zone?
No.
No, it is about a 6-hour drive though, from tip to tip, approximately.
It's about from breakfast to dinner.
There you go. That's a good way of measuring time, by meals.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there you go. Feel free to put comments on YouTube, any of our podcast listings, iTunes, Google, Stitcher, and of course, give us a rating and a review. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
There you go. I said it.
And give my daughter a rating. She likes it.
The 5-star ratings help the most. Just saying.
Awesome.
I say leave an honest rating.
Whatever. We have no idea how those weird Apple maths work, but yes, be honest.
There you go. Hey, welcome back to the show, Chris and Helen. We're gonna start talking with you guys about Trackables, but first we wanted to just make sure people knew you were here, and because we've been talking a lot, and maybe kind of remind folks who you are a little bit.
We're a couple of people that live in Vancouver Island South. Actually, probably one of the most mispronounced place names. It's Esquimalt, right outside Victoria. We've been caching since 2005. And we run the Land Sharks geocaching supplies and Sharks coins and a bunch of stuff like that. But we get out and do lots of geocaching. We love to travel. We, in fact, take people on cruises and stuff like that, really, all around geocaching. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've geocached in like 46 countries. And
that's a lot.
Yeah, we're looking forward to being able to get out there again.
And this past year, we've been geocaching in Canada and British Columbia.
Mostly
on Vancouver Island.
Gold Country for a while when we were able to go there. And then up to the North Island, up in Nikki's area. We were up in the North Island. With Land Monkey.
Beautiful
cool.
Up there. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
You get all those exotic locations like Esquimalt and Saanich and
I know. It's just like
Pemberton.
Souk.
Well, actually, people, it is.
Sydney.
We're pretty lucky. It's a nice area here, and this is where a lot of people come to vacation. So we're actually pretty blessed to be living in a place like this. Yeah.
It's amazing that you've cached in 46 countries. I live in America and I have not cached in 46 states.
Oh.
I don't know if I've done 46 counties.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe I have.
Well,
maybe how many states?
What are you doing tomorrow?
We've cached in a lot of states too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You have.
Yeah.
But sadly, not recently.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So, not for a year.
Tell us
So
about your. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, yes, a couple of days ago, we went geocaching on Mount Doug. Here, there's a virtual, and I would say it's a new virtual, but actually it's been new for a long time. We just haven't gone and logged it yet. So it was new to us, but it's one of those virtual awards that people got. So it's a newer virtual. It's called The Cave. I'm not sure.
Be brave, go in the cave.
Be brave, go in the cave. So we were very, very brave, and this guy went in the cave.
We. Yeah, who's we? That man?
Is that the royal we I hear about?
Oh, yeah, the royal we. We went in the cave. It was good. I stayed outside and looked after the backpack because the opening was so small. the backpack would not have fit through.
You know,
with either
that's
of
an
us.
important
there for
responsibility. Don't
security.
downplay
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a video coming out with that in it shortly, actually.
Oh, nice.
In the next couple of days, we've been kind of lax on getting videos out, but yeah, the next few days there's going to be a video coming out.
Couple of days.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's going to be ready
Cool.
soon.
It's gonna be ready
I'm
soon.
almost done.
Oh my gosh.
Way to go,
Got
Chris.
music and everything going on.
Wow.
Ooh.
He didn't say there were consecutive days. It could be like, tomorrow and then
Yeah. And then next
the
And
Friday.
then Saturday and then
yeah, the 4th of
Wednesday,
May or
yeah.
something. But,
That's true.
Nice.
Couple
It
of
looks
days.
like other people have been getting out recently. We see Neltra got an FTF with Boomer 365.
nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
They love cave caches.
Yeah.
They got it
Dora
first to
Wood-
find on that one.
I think
Was
that's what
that
she's
the one?
saying.
Oh, I
Yeah,
got
I'm
it
pretty
first
sure.
to find. Yes, you're right. Dora Moore says I did that virtual 2 years ago. Got most of the way in. Yet you claimed the virtual.
And
Okay.
back out, I hope. Well, she's
Yes,
here to
that's right.
tell us some.
I have
she's
video
there, yeah.
evidence that Dora Moore has gone spelunking. So
Okay.
When this
Well,
guy
that
came out of
makes
the cave, it truly looked like the cave was giving birth to him.
was it breach or
No,
Hmm.
it was a good head first birth.
oh good.
Okay.
Good.
Oh,
Visual. There's a visual I can't get out of my head now. Thanks, Linda.
Yeah.
So let's bring it back to the topic at hand for the night, shall we? Talk about trackables, because really,
All right.
this whole show evolved out of an ignorant question that I sent to my two co-hosts because I was trying to activate a trackable and didn't feel smart enough to figure out how to do that. So let's start at square one. The old, ladies and gentlemen, this is a trackable. Just imagine there's one here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
thanks, Vanna.
So I'll ask our guests, since they are the experts on trackables, for anybody that maybe just joined us, just joined geocaching, just started doing this whole thing and says, what's a trackable? Give us a little overview and background information about trackables.
So trackables are physical game pieces for playing with geocaching that move from geocache to geocache. And although they can also just be discovered and collectible, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But at their heart, what they are is a little game piece with a number on it called a tracking number. You can register it. If you buy one, you register it under your name. You can drop it in the geocache, register that you've dropped it in that geocache. Somebody else will pick it up, log that they've received, log that they've taken it, drop it in another geocache, log that it's there, and so on. And you can follow its travels around. And they can be coins. They can be little tags. What else? T-shirts, tattoos. People have tracking numbers as tattoos sometimes, although you don't drop them in the geocache. But yeah, did I miss anything? That's about.
That's a good
That's basically
overview.
what they are. Yep.
Car tags and other things.
Yep.
You have vehicles.
Mhm.
Usually you can recognize them. They say trackable at geocaching.com next to or near the tracking number. Or they'll have the little scarab sort of symbol as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yep.
Excellent. All right. So that's a good overview of what trackables are. A common question people ask when you get it, when you find these things in caches, these cool collectibles, coins, and what have you, can I keep it?
Usually not, Jay, but sometimes you can. If they're activated, then they have an owner. That trackable belongs to somebody and they want them to travel from cache to cache. Sometimes you might find an unactivated trackable, and often you know it's unactivated because it might have a sticker saying compliments of somebody or this is a gift, and they might give you the activation code. So when you find that, it's usually pretty obvious that this was left as a trade item, and that's very cool. Doesn't happen very often. Then that one you can actually keep, and if you do, then you should trade it. Leave a trade item that's like maybe $10 value approximately. So trade fairly for it. Don't leave like a dollar store toy. But yeah, so usually not, but
You
Mm.
sometimes
could
you
leave
can.
$10 store toys.
You could.
Yeah. or 500
Maybe.
pieces of garbage. These for
Trying to figure out the math. That's all.
yeah.
Nice. So you say they're trackable. How do I log a trackable?
Well, they have a tracking number on them or a little code. And the idea is that you go onto your account. You can either do it through the app or you can do it on the geocaching.com account. But there's a section for trackables. And when you enter in the tracking number, then you can register it as being in your possession, or it'll also show up as a trackable to drop off. So if you find a geocache, you have the option of dropping one of your trackables in that cache. So either of those two actions, either collecting it into your possession or dropping it into a geocache, or in some cases, as I said, we'll talk about collectibles later, but you can discover a trackable. In any of those cases, the trackable will be logged, and the owner of the trackable will be able to see a record of all of the logs, so they can see where the trackable has been, who's discovered it, that kind of thing.
And logging a trackable, they have a map page. When you're looking at a trackable, there's actually a map page, so you can look and see that it went from here to here to here to here to here. So that's very cool. So when you log a trackable in and out of a cache, it then creates an online path of its journey and virtually moves them to a new location. So
That is cool to watch.
Yeah, in the case of one of my early geocoins, it just bounces around, goes to Germany, and stops.
Yeah.
They like trackables in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen actually some teachers will use them, drop them in a geocache with a class, and they will end up doing sort of random geography lessons based on where it travels to, things like that. So
that could
there's
be
some
fun.
kind of neat things you can do with them. Yeah.
I have enjoyed looking at the maps and see where mine have gone, and some of my own personal ones that I dip in and out. But somebody is listening and they go, yeah, this sounds like something I'd really like to do. I'd like to start my own trackable. How do I get one?
Well, most any geocaching store or store that sells geocaching products will carry trackables. From as simple as the geocaching.com trackable travel bug tag, which is their licensed product and has a scarab image, and it's like an aluminum plating. They are a basic travel tag. And then other companies, that's
right.
it. That Chris is holding one up.
Yep,
Then there's more
apparently.
creative ones. There's ones where we have ones with Beaver Dude, and we have like this one here, which is a making tracks tag. So trackable tags can be made. They're usually aluminum, and they can be pictures of like raccoons or goats or, Signal the Frog, or there's different shapes and types of trackable tags. There's also geocoins. So those can all be purchased from any store that sells geocaching products. They will have one or two or a whole great big selection. Some have like 40 or 50 you can choose from, and some have one or two. But yeah, if you find a geocaching store, likely they've got a section for trackables. So if you go to their store and search for trackables, you'll probably find something.
So other than raccoons or goats, I really don't think there's any other shape of trackable you'd need, really.
That's about it.
Not that you need, but we like
Sharks. You need sharks.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
of course, sharks.
And we did have dinosaurs. We don't have them anymore, but a lot of people needed the dinosaurs, so they're sold out.
Well, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So activation. This is we're getting lots of questions in the chat. We're getting into the stuff here where people are really kind of curious about it.
Yeah,
So
I've been kind of distracted watching the chat go by. It's really active.
and lots of great questions. And we're gonna get to the one that I know everybody gets hung up on. It's the one I always get hung up on, and it's the
We'll get there.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
we see the questions. We know where you're going.
That's
But,
the question Woodson asked. And
Yes.
Land Monkey and I could not answer it.
We could not. That's where this all
Started this whole thing going, yeah. Just a
So-
downhill slide from there.
So maybe what we can do though, Helen and Chris, can you guys just let's start from the start with the whole activation thing. And if you guys walk us through it, and then we'll get also to the whole collectible business, because that's where I get really confused. But let's, can you walk us through the activation?
Sure.
So what we'll do is we're going to walk through the processes as you would see it on the geocaching.com website. because that's kind of the place where it's best laid out, and you can do everything really well there. So the first thing you need to do is make sure you're logged into your geocaching account. And then there's one of the buttons, or one of the menu items at the top is the play menu button, and you go and you click that, go down to Trackables, and then there are 2 ways to activate a trackable from there.
So either there's a big box where you can put the tracking number in, and if the tracking code that you put in is unactivated, it will take you to a page to activate that trackable. If the trackable is activated already, it'll take you to a page to log it, but we're looking at unactivated ones. Alternatively, you go down to the box on the left of useful links, and partway down there's one called activate a trackable. So that
takes you to the same place.
That takes you to the same place. So it's like 2 ways to get to the same place. So then you fill in the boxes, and if you don't have the activation code, for some reason the geocaching.com website assumes you do, but a lot of people don't. Either they've got one and lost it, or they never got one in the first place.
So some trackables will actually, when you purchase them, they'll actually have a little either piece of paper or a little sticker on, say activation code is, and then it'll tell you what that code is. But a lot of them nowadays don't have the activation code with the trackable because it's so easy to get it off the geocaching.com website. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so it's on their cards of their products.
Yeah.
I can't get it to focus, but yes.
And we sometimes, when we're selling trackables, we have a stamp that we'll put your activation code is, and we'll stamp it on people's orders. So
usually sharks
is quite often our one.
Yeah. Sharks.
So if you don't have your activation code, you fill in retrieve an activation code, and you fill in the tracking code you've got, and it will give you the activation code. And if for some reason you lose it, you can go back multiple times and get that same activation code. It used to be that you could only get it once, and now it will give it to you as many times as you need it.
But you can only activate it one time, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
So then you go back to the activation page, and you fill in the tracking number and the activation code, and you click that you want to activate it. And then the next page is the trackable details page. You want to talk about that?
Sure. So on the trackable details page, this is where you can personalize the trackable. So there's the magic question on there: is this collectible or not? And there's actually 3 answers to that. There's two buttons, but there's 3 answers. So it says, is this collectible? Yes or no. So obviously you can select yes, you can also select no, but you can also carry on without selecting anything. And it's not going to give you any grief. So you have 3 options. You can click yes, no, or just don't click it at all. Not clicking not selecting one is the same as selecting no. So if you just ignore that question because you don't really understand what it's asking you, you ignore it, then that's the same as checking off no. And when you do that, it is essentially the same. It is the trackable can then be dropped in a geocache, all the normal things that we've talked about that you can do with a geocache or with a trackable. If you select collectible, however, then you can't do all those things, and we'll talk a bit more about that in just a second. But on this page, so that's one of your options. On the page, you can also give the collectible a mission and a description, so you can describe what it is. Maybe you've attached a travel bug with a little chain to a toy car, and that toy car has some kind of. It was one of your kids' toy cars. It was kind of special. Now it's just hanging around, so you put it out to travel. So you might describe what its past is and why it's kind of special to you. And then a mission, and you don't have to have a mission on a trackable, but a lot of people do. And the mission might be to travel to a friend across the world. The mission might be to go to try and visit every state in the US or every province in Canada. The mission might be to go to seaside towns and take pictures with fishing boats. All kinds of different missions. And if you give your trackable a mission, it's actually kind of fun to watch it hopefully continue to travel around and carry out that mission. You can also give your trackable a name. So if you got like a Making Tracks trackable tag, you might call it we might call it Land Sharks Making Tracks trackable tag, or we might call it Land Sharks traveling toy car. You can give it whatever name you want to that means something to you that easy to recognize.
And if you don't fill in the mission, the default mission is to travel from cache to cache. So that's what we'll fill in automatically if you don't pick a mission and your description is optional. Yeah.
And do you want to talk about collectible, or is that coming up?
Next. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and you can the next page, after you've filled in the mission description, you click next. And that's where you fill in the date, the country, and the province of where it's being activated. And that's that. So, I mean, you don't have to choose your home country. If you're traveling, you could activate it in Bulgaria. You could put country Bulgaria, whatever. You know, you're not required to choose where your account is. You can make it anywhere you want. So,
Excellent. All right. Well, Chris is dying to talk about the collectible box, and I really want to hear it. So I'm just going to throw it back over to you, Chris, and let's dig into this whole collectible business.
Okay, so this collectible business, basically, if you decide that it's collectible, it means that it's something that's in a collection that people can't claim as their own and drop into a geocache.
So it's collectible, but they can't collect it.
It's your collectible item.
Well, if you make it collectible and you don't move it to your inventory and you put it in a cache, then somebody else hypothetically could retrieve it and put it into their collection. But it doesn't mean you can't retrieve it back again and fix it.
But the idea behind it is that it can be it's designed to be discovered, not taken. That's the idea behind it. So if you have a trackable on your car, for example, a trackable tag, you don't necessarily want people always taking it, and you got to take it back out of some cache somewhere because people are taking your car and moving it places.
That used to happen to us all the time.
Yeah, no, pain in the
way
butt.
back before they made this collectible thing.
So, so basically, you mark it as collectible, and then people will really only have the option of discovering it. So then they can discover the trackable, and so if you have a geocoin collection, you would most likely want to make all of your geocoins collectible so people can discover them without actually having to sort of take them in their possession, and then you can take them back, which would be the only other way for them to actually get an icon on their account that they'd seen that particular trackable. Tattoos are another one. You don't want somebody taking you and putting you in a cache and then you got to get out and all that kind of stuff. No, you don't need to do that anymore.
If the cache was in Tahiti, maybe you could cache there.
So one of the things you can do when you make it collectible is then you have the option to move it to your collection. Now, when you go to a geocache, and it'll say down below, do you want to drop any of these trackables off in this geocache? If you have made it collectible and you've moved it to your collection, it won't show up in that inventory. So that's handy. So all the trackables, if you're a collector of trackables, or you've got a trackable vehicle and a trackable t-shirt and a trackable tattoo, you may not want those all showing up in your list of trackables that are always active on your account in your inventory. Instead, they are in your collection. So they're kind of out of sight, but they're still yours. And then they're great for discovery. When something's in your collection, people can then discover it. They can't grab it or retrieve it or anything like that. So what you want to do is you want to make it collectible and then move it into your collection. So
I think that's the step that confused the heck out of me when I started this, because I have a fake geocaching account with no fines, but I use it to log in and see things now and then. So when I couldn't figure this thing out, I did what I thought was the smart move, and I asked, these guys, but they weren't any help. So I then went in and made it either collectible or not collectible, whatever the choices were. And I logged in with this other account and I went and tried to take it, and I found I could take it. I'm like, okay, well, that's not what I want. So I changed it the other way and I went in with the other account and I could still take it, and it drove me bonkers. It's moving it into your own collection that really was the piece I was missing, I think.
Yeah. So they came up with this a few years ago because we actually made a cache when we started caching, and we called it like Coins at Home. We actually, it was published, and then it was basically a dead cache that was no one could see it. And we put coins into it. Like we would activate a geocoin and we would move it into this cache just to get it out of our inventory and have it stored somewhere. And we probably got like 600 coins in there. We still do. We've never moved them back because we're just like, oh my gosh, too big a project.
You still lift it?
Yes.
You still lift it.
Yes. It's virtually very light, thankfully.
Okay. All right.
So you move it. So nowadays they've got this move it to your collection, which is awesome. And it means you don't have to do these things like putting them into a fake cache and things like that. And if you then say you have a geocoin and you activate it and you make it collectible and you put it in your collection, and then you decide, I'm going to send it out traveling. You can then move it back into your inventory and put it
Oh.
in a cache. So you can move
Okay.
them in and out of your collection and your inventory. You can go back and forth as much as you want. So yeah, but people like Geo Travelers, Christy has a tattoo, and I'm expecting that's probably in her collection, so
I
that we
would hope.
can't grab her and retrieve her and drop her in caches and things like that.
It's frowned upon in most societies.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
typically, if you're going to keep it in your possession, like a vehicle, a shirt, a patch, a pin, a special geocoin, something you want to choose, yes. When you activate it, yes, it's collectible, and move it to your collection under the action. So under actions is where you choose to move it to your collection. And then people can discover it, but they can't retrieve it. So,
Okay. So collection and inventory are two different things. We have a chat here in the chat from Gas Station Tuna and his best William Shatner. I still don't understand.
So I grabbed one of my trackables that I have and I believe this is set the proper way here, so that maybe this helps us understand if we can do a visual here. So this is my Buckland bear, who normally hangs up here on the wall. So if we take a look at it, it does have it says in here, this is collectible, because I clicked the collectible button.
Mm-hmm.
So that, as I'm understanding what we're saying here, that should mean if it says this is collectible, that should mean that it is part of my collection. And then at that point, I have the choice of whether I put it in my inventory. And if it's in your inventory, then it's something that can be picked up by somebody else.
Yeah.
Or you put it in your collection, in which case people can discover it only. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. So go to the actions button and look at the drop down there and see what your choices are.
Whoops. Okay. So sorry. This is a screenshot.
Oh, sorry. Whoops. Okay.
Okay. But I'll tell you what, I'll go on my other screen. If I click if I click this open here, it's my options are move to inventory, which you see, mark item missing, recalculate distance, or lock. Those are my options.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
it's already
in your collection. It is in your collection
right.
already. Yes.
So if it was in your inventory, one of your options would be to move it into your collection.
And then on your main player page where it shows your inventory of trackables, if it's in your collection, it won't be in your inventory. Inventory are ones that are ready for you to pop into a cache.
Yeah.
All right. So Gas Station Tuna is looking for clarification. So collectible means that I collect it, not someone else. That is my
yes, that is the
Yeah.
intention. Yes.
It really, the unfortunate thing is the way it's presented to you is you've got this question and there's no guidance on the
Right.
website as to what that means. And that's kind of, so if you're really familiar with trackables and you see some that are, like, oh, I can discover this one. And so if you think in terms of, I can discover some things that belong to somebody and they don't want them traveling. And then other things are designed for me to pick up and move and pick up and move and pick up and move. Well, that's if you want them to pick up and move, don't put the collectible thing in there. And if you want it to sort of remain in your possession and allow other people to discover, then that's the other side. That's the collectible. And then there's this two-step thing where you mark it as collectible and you move it to your collection. So it's not really described well on the activation page. So you look at it and go, I don't know what that is, and you ignore it. Well, that's okay. What you've actually done is selected no and set it up for traveling. But yeah.
Okay, so speaking of traveling means distance, tracking distance. So trackables can keep track of, the distance they've traveled, right? Is that a useful thing for them to do?
It is. You can have a lot of fun with it. If you're going on a vacation, say you're going to Germany and you're going to go driving all over Europe, you might take a new trackable, activate it, and I would choose the country where you activate as Germany and choose the state of where you are, and then drop it into a cache near where you've just landed by the airport, maybe. And then as you travel, every geocache you visit, you could visit that trackable, could just visit it. You don't want to drop it in. You want to visit. And then you would then end up with a map and a log of your whole holiday from the cache to cache to cache. And if you did that, then probably when you get home, you're then not going to start dropping it in more caches, or it's going to suddenly have this big trip across the pond from Europe back to North America, depending where you are. But yeah, so that's a way to kind of have fun with the trackable and see, how many miles you traveled cache to cache to cache.
Yeah, so my backpack has traveled 28,000 miles.
There,
you go.
yes.
Because I'm not extremely consistent about dipping it in every single cache that I visit, but I try when I have traveled some distance to
Exactly.
to have
To
it
at least
visit a
drop it
cache.
in one in that location.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
very
exactly.
cool.
So
Yeah,
that's
that's
my
so cool.
backpack.
The
has
other-
been.
It
The
really
other
looks
side of
like you go and come back. You go and you come back. You go. and you-
I for the most part, tend to come home after my trip.
Yeah. Well, at least he has done so far because he's at
Yes.
home now, right? So
Yeah.
you got a pretty good
Wow.
track record.
We think he's at home, but
We
I don't
think,
know.
yeah.
The April 1st episode, we just didn't know what to believe.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that. No comment on that one.
So the other thing
sorry.
with
I was just going to roll back because I know we were going through this. I think Gas Station Tune is just looking for the last clarifying question, and I think we've got this. So he says, so can trackables in my collection be discovered by others, or are they only for me to dip into caches? And yes,
They can
if
be
it is
discovered.
trackable in your collection, people can discover it.
They can't retrieve it, but they can discover it.
So by them
Yeah.
discovering it,
But
that
if you
doesn't add
have
to
put
the
in
miles
your
it's traveled.
collection, if it's
Pardon
in-
me?
If it's in your collection, do you remember back in the time when there were events?
Oh, way
You could
back.
go-
Yeah.
You could go to an event, put some trackables out, say at your table, and say these are for discovery. So people could
Yes.
come and discover them, get that icon on their trackable page and say, yes, I've discovered it. At the
Yes.
end of the evening, you take those back home with you and put them in your trackable collection, which could be
Yes.
a shoebox.
Yes. Yes.
Or back on a nice rack or whatever wherever you keep your prized travel bugs or
Yes.
coins, your
Yes.
trackables. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a discoverable. That's correct,
Mhm.
Stephen.
So it's discoverable, but if somebody else discovers it, it doesn't add to the map, or does it?
No.
No,
I don't
Okay.
think so. No.
no, you
It's
have to dip it in a
Visit-
cache in
Okay.
order for it to
Yeah.
show up on the map.
Yeah. Okay.
So it would not be collectible. If you're activating it as trackable and taking it on vacation with you and having it visit caches, it's not going to be collectible. No, you can choose no for sure.
Okay.
because you're
And you can edit that at any time,
going.
correct? You
Yes.
can edit that. Yes,
Yes.
collectible, yes or no. So, you
Yeah.
have this special coin that you have, but you thought, you know what? I want to take it for this vacation just to measure my mileage.
Yep.
That's okay. And then when I'm coming back home, click it back, it's collectible, it sits back and gets out of that list
Exactly.
when you're
Yep.
logging caches to say, you know what? I don't use that one anymore. I don't use that one. I don't use
Mhm.
that one. Let's make the list shorter so I can quickly find what I'm looking for.
Yep.
And,
Yeah.
Exactly.
visit, dip, log, drop, whatever you do.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other thing with the distance travel, it's not just to keep track of where you're traveling as a person, but you can also sit back at home and just watch them travel and see how far they've gone and where they're going. And in fact, there's contest travel bug races and things like that where things like distance covered can people with the trackable with the most distance covered might win a prize and things like that. So a variety of things that you can do with the distance covered.
Yeah. There's websites like, tbrace.com, which you can set up, races for multiple travel bugs to go and, it will calculate the distance and time for you. So
There you go.
Yeah.
So gas station tunis. This seems incredibly vaguely difficult for no reason, and I think to what
Thank
Chris
you.
and Helen were saying earlier, it's the
Yeah.
terminology can be a little bit confusing. But maybe if you roll the episode back and replay it a couple of times, we'll get there. But
Well,
I think we've got it.
we've been saving some questions, so we'll go
Yeah.
through them at the end, and I think that will help clarify a little more.
Yeah.
Great. Now, Chris and Helen, we've talked a lot about trackables. But are there any tips that we should keep in mind if we pick up a trackable or, discover it in a cache? What is some proper protocols, some tips that we should think about?
One of them is you want to give a little bit of time. If a trackable isn't where it's supposed to be, keep in mind that people might pick one up and travel somewhere, and they may not log that they've got it, or they may not log that it's been moved for a little while. So don't stress it too much if you're not seeing the movement sort of when you think it's happening. And if it's not showing up and you think it's kind of disappeared, you can contact through geocaching.com. You can contact the last geocacher who logged the trackable and ask them if they'd seen it or if they dropped it off somewhere, or and try and track it down that way.
You should try to log trackables. If you retrieve a trackable, try and log it within into a new cache within a couple of weeks. And if you're on vacation, most people get hotel Wi-Fi. Try and retrieve that trackable quickly, so that the next person who goes to the cache and sees it on the online inventory doesn't go, "Hey, where's this trackable that's supposed to be here?" So try and log as quickly as you conveniently can. And then the etiquette is that you should drop it in another cache within a couple of weeks.
So we've seen if there's likely some people who are not that familiar with trackables listening to this podcast at some point. Because we've gone through kind of an introduction to them. We have seen trackables that get picked up and as an exciting thing, and it is a fun thing fun addition to the game. But we've seen some where they kind of disappear and then they kind of show up again about 4 years later, because I found it in my sock and I didn't know my son had it and it was in his shoe or something silly like that. So if you do find a trackable and you take it with every intent of moving it, but you're then make a point of moving it on. It's good etiquette.
And if you want to log a trackable into a cache, so you've got a trackable and you go visit a cache and you want to log it in on the app or on the geocaching website, you would choose drop. That's the option to drop it into the cache. And then it goes from your inventory digitally into the cache's inventory. And it's instant. 1 minute it's in your app on your phone, and the next minute, plump, it's in the cache's inventory, which is kind of cool. So it's very quick. And if you want to keep the trackable, but if it's yours and you just want to show that it visited that cache, then you would choose visit, not drop. Then it will stay in your inventory. But if you drop it and you go, crap, I really want to take that one with me, just go back to the cache and click retrieve and pull it back out again.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to fix.
Yeah, visit's what I've done with my backpack. So. And if you have a travel bug and you don't know what its status is, go check the code online, because theoretically somebody could hand you this really cool looking mustache tag at an event and you think it's an unactivated gift and it sits in your desk here for a year or so, and then you look at it one day and you realize that was supposed to move. I'm sorry. Just hypothetically speaking, I don't know how that happened. Just somebody might do that. And they poor travel bug owner thinks that their trackable's missing, and sometimes people complain about things going missing. How do you keep them moving if they're missing?
Buddy tags or mission cards. There's metal tags that actually say, "I'm a trackable. Don't keep me. Put me in a new cache soon. Move me from cache to cache." It very clearly says that. And we also have this thing called a mission card. So it's hole punched, and you can put that onto a trackable tag and a chain and put that. And we usually put them in a zipper bag, so that keeps them. It sort of makes them look different than the rest of the swag and trade items that are in a cache. When you have a bag with a little bundle of stuff in it, it looks different. So that's a good way to help your trackables keep moving when you send them out, is to make them look special. And put a card on them. This mission card says, "Please keep me moving and help me make tracks. Do not keep me, take me, log me, and drop me in another cache soon. See where I've been and log me at geocaching.com." And on the back, you can write the mission. And this one's got a good mission, but that's coming up in the next question.
Because you know what the next question is?
I know what it is, because I've got show notes.
So there's one other thing
seismic.
about missing. There's one other thing about keeping trackables moving. When you put a trackable out there, you can expect it to move forever. You might have a mission for it to come back home or something like that, but typically you put it out there and you're kind of waving goodbye to it. A good chance you're never going to see that again, because it's going to travel around, and in the best case scenario, it'll travel around forever and ever and ever, and you can follow its travels, and it's going to have a good time without you. But at some point in time, they often go missing.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, at some point in time, they do often go missing. So what we sometimes do, especially if it's a coin,
A geocoin.
a geocoin, and it's got a tracking number, and of course you want it to travel around, but you don't really want somebody thinking it's a collectible item, is destroy it. Drill a little hole in it, maybe add a tag to it that says "Keep me moving," a buddy tag or something like that. But if you drill a little hole in it, all of a sudden it's no longer as a pristine collectible, and it's got a much better chance of actually keeping going. So unless you want it to like go around and come back, and good luck with that, it's if you do something like that, there's a better chance that it's going to keep going. Put a buddy tag on it, and an even better chance it's going to keep going, and then it's less likely to be taken. And most of the time when they disappear, it's not malicious. It's just somebody that didn't realize that doesn't understand what a trackable is, and they've taken it and traded it for a dollar store toy, and there it goes.
Somebody that's been caching a long time, theoretically speaking.
Yeah.
When you send a trackable out,
Go ahead.
So when you send a trackable out, essentially don't send out something high value that's like a family heirloom.
Yeah.
Don't send out your grandfather's World War II medals. Like we've had people phone us and ask us at the store, like, I'm thinking of sending out, something precious. I'm like, no, don't do it. Whatever you're putting out in a cache, even though it's yours, you're kissing it goodbye. Send out something that if it never comes back, it's not a big deal. But, there's lots of things you can send out that are fun, but don't send out something precious.
Interestingly enough, you talked about people with tattoos and putting someone in a cache. And
Yes.
I mentioned on a recent episode that one of my most memorable trackables that I picked up and moved along, I didn't keep it forever, was a little capsule of somebody's father's cremains. And he said he liked burger joints, and take it with you to a burger joint. And I was going to California. I had an In-N-Out Burger, and I moved it along. And I guess that's, well, obviously precious to somebody, but I'm sure that particular capsule of cremains, they decided that it was okay if they never saw it again. The idea that Dad was still traveling, I don't know. It was kind of, I guess some people might find it creepy. I found it kind of cool, and
I think it's kind of cool.
It's definitely been
It's kind of
memorable.
cool.
Yeah,
It's unique. It's unique.
Excellent.
Best use of a bison tube outside of a cedar tree ever.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I understand that Helen really, really wants me to ask a question here, so I'm assuming it must be about goats. So let me go take a look at the show notes here.
No, it's not about
It's
goats.
not about goats. No.
No. Okay. Well, since we don't have a question about goats, what was the last trackable you activated?
Well, it's this Making Tracks tag. And I'm not going to show the number because really you're only supposed to see the trackable number if you find it in a cache or someone gives it to you or something like that. So it's a tag attached to this. And the mission says to visit Jay, Chris, and Jim, hosts of Caching in the Northwest podcast. Check them out online at cachingnorthwest.com. If you find this trackable, let them know at 250-693-TFTC or feedback at Caching in the Northwest.
That's awesome. I love it.
So if anybody would
fun.
like to, I thought that would be fun. So if anybody would like to watch this one, there is a number you can give out, which is like a registration number. So
You can't log
you can't
the trackable
log
with
it, but you can put a watch on it. So it's TB9H22F. So Tango Bravo 9 Hotel 22 Foxtrot.
Yep.
And that's the number you can share with other viewers so they can watch the Trackables page. So when you find it in a cache, you will see the engraved tracking number. Then you can log a find. So we're going to drop this in a geocache. And hopefully it will come to visit you guys. And hopefully
That's
people will
really
send you
cool.
notes. Maybe come into the show. And on the page, you'll see I wrote more details than I was able to fit on the mission card.
Very cool. Maybe we'll put that on our social media so people can follow it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
So that brings up an interesting point. Correct me if I'm wrong, but then every trackable has two numbers, right? One
Yes.
that's on it. When you find it, you can log it. and another one that's just a reference that you can go look at the page. And do they all start with TB, those ones? I think? Or
I think so. I'm not
because
sure.
I showed you the map of my backpack that I visit caches with, and
Yeah.
I just have to say, I think it's got the coolest number I've ever seen on a trackable. This is the one that you can go and read about that you can't log it with, but it's TB4, the number 4, TB4 keep.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's
I don't know how I wound up
cool.
with that one, but it is the coolest number ever. So
Yes. TB for keep. I like that. Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
How very cool.
So we had lots of questions.
Oh man, did we have a lot of questions. Guys, we didn't forget about your questions. We're coming to them. Let's start with Wet Coaster. This is what is the trackable setting to prevent people from taking my trackable and only discover it? That there's 2 settings. There's 2 things you need to click. You need to make it collectible and put it in your collection.
Yes.
Correct.
Make it collectible, put it in your collection.
yeah, and that's what I was missing. Was 2 steps.
Yeah. So, Wet Coaster also asked, and I'm going to let Witsand answer this one. Why do trackables get lost in Europe?
Cause
Okay.
Yeah.
They get lost
Okay.
I think
everywhere.
that's about right. Yeah.
they get lost everywhere,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of geocaches in Europe, and a lot of travel bugs go there.
Mhm.
So
Starcasher says, I grabbed a travel bug 4 months ago. I had many in my inventory. I eventually dropped all except the one I couldn't find anymore. It remained lost until I found it in the seat of my car last week.
car seats are notorious for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so Starcasher, thank you for sharing that with us because that reflects a lot of what really happens, right?
Yeah.
There was nothing
Yeah.
malicious. It wasn't, I don't like
right.
this person. I'm not moving their travel bug. I'm going to lose it. You know, no, it slipped out of the bag and into the car seat and gone. So it happens.
And we all hope that they come back someday. But let me just tell you, don't get too excited if it does, because mine did 6 months ago or so. I got a log in my email from a long lost travel bug that I launched years ago and hadn't seen forever. And I was so excited. And I sent this cacher an email and said, that's so awesome that you found. He goes, I'm sorry, I typed the number wrong. It was a different one. All right. It's okay.
Oh, lunch bag let down.
About a year ago, I had the exact same thing happen. It's been found! Hooray! Where did you find it? Oops, wrong number.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
Oh, okay.
Keats94 had shared that he had put a bunch of Alexander Keith's bottle caps on a trackable. It ended up in Antarctica, and then he got it back.
Very
Oh,
nice.
that's
Wow.
very
That's
cool.
amazing.
Very nice.
Great story.
CRS98 says, I know I left a trackable listed in my possession, off in a cache, but forgot which one. It could be one of several spots at this point. What's the best guidance to address this?
Wait until someone retrieves it, and they might send you a note to say, hey, it looks like you had this trackable last. I just picked it up in, this Gold Country cache or whatever. And then they'll give you the opportunity to drop it from your inventory back in. You can backdate it to last year, whenever it was you dropped it off, and then they can retrieve it.
You can also grab it, right?
They can grab it from you too.
There's another
so
thing you can do.
Somebody may grab it out of your inventory.
Yeah. So if it's in a geocache and you take it, you retrieve it. That's the term on the website. But if you take it from somebody directly, then you grab it is the term from the website. So the other thing you can do, if you do find one and it doesn't appear to be logged in the cache, very likely a scenario like this, then you can just grab it also. Then all of a sudden it's in your possession, where it really is, and it can continue its travels.
And you can move it on. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. CRS98 also adds the current trackable with the longest distance traveled is 547,826 miles.
Seriously?
That's
Okay.
huge.
That's like 8 billion kilometers.
I presume that's not the one on the space station.
That would be hard to track mileage, wouldn't it?
Well,
It
'cause it's
would,
not
but it's probably done
anything.
more than that, though.
Yeah.
It's not being logged into
That's
anything.
like
But
one day of travel there.
yeah.
Maybe
Did
they only
you,
track
did you
vertical
cover
models.
did you cover the comment from White Coaster yet?
No, I just noticed that and thought that was a
Yeah.
great tip.
So if you think your trackable is lost, you can actually put a rescue mission on Project GC for it. It has a section on Project GC where you can kind of crowdsource support in rescuing your trackables. So
Oh,
something
cool.
else to take a look at.
Have to look
Yeah.
at that.
So
Yeah.
it's Travel Bug Rescue or TB Rescue.
Yeah.
Actually, Project GC, I think TB Rescue was going to shut it down, and Project GC says, well, I'll take that on. And they've added
Nice.
it to Project GC. So it is nice. You can
Yeah.
put there, you can go and check, right? See if there's any trackables around you that are lost and need some help.
Cool.
Let's see. Starcacher says, as a cache owner, if there's a travel bug in one of your cache's inventory and Finder states that there are no trackables, go and check after a few weeks or a month to mark it as missing.
It's good advice. Yeah.
Yeah, as the cache owner, you can do that. If you own the cache, you can mark trackables that are there as missing.
Oh, Doramore, I think I need to do this. She says, and if you are watching online, see the picture of her crawling in a cave? She's actually spelunking in her picture here. So, okay.
Yeah.
She says, I put a piece of brightly colored ribbon or tape on my GPSR to remind me that I have a trackable with me so I don't forget about it.
Wow.
That's brilliant because, I just stopped picking up travelers because I forget I have them and I don't move them on. So
It's a good life hack. There you go.
yeah, it is.
All right. So
Keats,
there you go.
Len,
yes.
you want to read Keats there?
Yeah, he said the key to putting out TBs is to put out a lot. There's bound to be one that will survive.
Yeah.
So there you go. Good advice.
Same with sea turtles.
Sea turtles, yeah.
And
Yeah.
spam.
Same approach.
Yeah, I was gonna say phishing emails. Yeah, but that's not as good.
No, that's not bad advice at all.
All right. And Stark Casher had shared that he put out similar to Jim's story. He put out a picture of his parents who had passed as a trackable because they love to travel. And so he felt that maybe that's a better idea than the ashes. That's
maybe
another
slightly
great
less
idea.
creepy.
Great
Yeah.
way.
To each his own, right?
Yeah.
Well, and the photo gives you a nice, because I have no idea what this person's father looked like. I just had a bison tube of ashes. So
There you
the
go.
photo, I think, is a much nicer touch.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, should we start towards wrapping things up and get into the after show?
Yeah,
I
I just
think
want to
so.
throw in there, though,
Yeah.
that this whole crazy process started because I found an unactivated travel bug sticker in my garage here and activated it. It's in my collection, so people can discover it. And it's on my car, and no one has yet discovered it. Now, granted, COVID, we don't travel much, but just saying, the FTF for my travel bug sticker on my car is still available.
All you
There's
gotta
a
do is
first to
break-
discover. Yeah.
That's the
All you gotta do is
FTD.
break into
FTD.
Jim's garage.
Yeah, right now at the moment. Yeah, here, hang on. It's it's right there.
Okay.
Okay.
Through the magic of television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with not traveling much and COVID, I start to rate my gas mileage in weeks. I get about 4 weeks on a tank of gas.
Yeah. Well, that's you. I still feel every 4 days because I'm still working commuting.
Yeah,
But-
yeah, you got that going. Hey,
So it's out
folks,
there.
well,
Find it.
first of all, Land Sharks, thank you.
Yes.
I mean,
Thank you.
this all started because we had a question we couldn't answer. We needed
That's-
your help.
I felt stupid.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. I couldn't help you. And thank you, listeners, for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. We hope you enjoyed it. And I think from the questions, we got some things cleared up.
Absolutely.
I hope so.
I understand it better now. Whether I retain that knowledge is an entirely different conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We just have to come and
There's
listen
a
to this
podcast you can
That's
just go
right. I know.
replay and replay.
I just know next time I have to activate a trackable, I'm not going to contact my co-host. I'm going to contact the Land Sharks.
There you go.
You're very
Or
welcome
look
to.
for episode 402. Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Well, hey, we want to take a moment to thank the Land Sharks, our corporate Denali level sponsor, and everybody who works at Land Sharks. Thank you very much for the support. We want to remind people to sign up for the Land Sharks newsletter, where you can find out about all kinds of new stuff first. And reminder that landsharks.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online. And remember, they are shipping those orders daily. And that could also include any Trackables you buy.
Ooh.
That's right.
And now you know how to activate them.
And now you know how to activate them. And gas station tune, it says, I think I understand. There you go.
Oh, good. Awesome.
Fantastic. Mission accomplished. All right. We want to also thank our faithful Denali level supporters, of course, Land Sharks, but also Team Squirrel, Groovy Owl, and Cashly, the geocaching app. If you want to know more about supporting this show, click that Patreon link on the cashingnw.com website.
Just like good old Sprouter did.
And Kettle Barb.
And Donners.
And Aller Robrick.
And Green Words.
T. Sayer.
And GSM times 2.
Boomer 365.
Sending stuff to Antarctica and getting it back. Keats 94.
See, Beck Tribe.
Fairwood West.
Sporting a brand new replacement GeoWoodstock hat. 3 hams in a rows.
Silly Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
Just finding our way.
Ackerdock.
The heroes of podcast baking, the Camp Clan.
CRS 98.
Team Noltex.
It's my turn this week. Kitty Quest.
And Deus.
M-Nerve.
Kev. MacD.
Tick Magnet.
You Talks to Rocks.
Hey, Peach.
Wet Coaster.
Segehov.
UDAC.
On a Boat.
Log Work.
Subway Mark.
Dora Moore, the Spelunker.
And connected with the Land Sharks, the Geo Travelers.
And still, we don't know the geocaching name of the baby. Wino Seattle.
Deep and Dragon.
Drexer Zero.
And rocking it in Utah, Broncos fan for life.
What about Kid Vegas 19?
What about Genies?
What about the GeoNav pros?
MC3 Cats.
LG 9000.
Limax.
And still our newest patron, Ari, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I sure about that.
4, 3, 7, 9, 11,
Oh,
27,
not the way you
42.
count.
He was
You-
counting an octal. It's okay.
okay.
All right. Well, hey, thanks everybody for joining us. And thanks once again to the Land Sharks. If people wanted to get in touch directly with the Land Sharks and not go through any of the three of us, Chris and Helen, how would you prefer people reach out and connect with you?
They can email us at connect@sharks.ca, or they can find us
Sharks
on
with SHARKZ.
with a Z.
Yes. Don't forget the
Zed.
Z.
Yes.
Or they can find us on social media. We're Land Sharks on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. I think we'll go Land Sharks on one of those, but just Google Land Sharks.
We're all over.
We're all over it.
And skip the Candygram, go for the Land Sharks. All
That's
right.
right.
And that guy over there is Land Monkey. That guy down there is Chris NorthWest. I'm Wits End, and we thank all of you for joining us. Go to cashingnw.com/hosts. You can find all kinds of stuff there.
That's right. And
Host-
folks, it's time for At Last. Wait, I've got a graphic for that.
Ooh.
There it is. At last.
At
last-
very graphic.
Thank you. Listeners asked some things, and now we get to answer. If you would like to ask some things, call into 253-693-TFTC or email your question to feedback@cashingnw.com. Now, tonight's question comes from IHAM, and he wants to know, knowing that you guys are IT guys, what was the first computer you ever wrote a program on, and in what language?
I've been called worse than an IT guy.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
He says, for example, my first program was on an Ohio Scientific computer, 4K tape recorder for storage in BASIC.
Ah, very similar. I used a tape recorder for my first programming as well, also in BASIC, but on a VIC-20.
Same here. Exact same as Jim.
I had a Commodore 64. I didn't get the VIC-20.
I didn't
But
own
yeah,
the VIC-20. A friend of mine had the VIC-20, and I was so taken with it that I bought the Commodore 64. So
Okay.
I'm not an IT guy, but I had a TRS-80, Radio Shack TRS-80.
Yeah.
Used programmed in BASIC on a tape recorder.
Yeah.
The old Trash 80. Nice.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what my friend had, and I was like, I've got to get one of these.
I know, just amazing, right?
Right. So, went with the Commodore. Oh,
Commodore's
that's
great.
cool.
Yeah. SYS 64738.
And Wits End, I know from time to time you your background will be the Commodore 64.
I have been known
hey.
to do that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Commodore 64 Basic 38911 bytes free, I believe is what the free memory was on that machine.
There's a rebirth of the Commodore 64. It looks very similar, but has a HDMI output now. And
Why?
why people are sentimental. That's the only
So
reason.
if you want to play Pong, you can program it yourself and
there you
play
go.
Pong.
You go.
Yeah, and I had a 1200 baud modem on that Commodore 64 to call the
man.
local BBSs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
And there were like what, 3?
No, I was in Southern California. It was
Okay.
fairly active, but yeah.
I ran a BBS hub for a while on a 286. Yeah.
Yeah, I never ran the hub. I got in enough trouble from my mom just for tying up the phone, calling the BBSs. I couldn't host one. Hang up the phone. I need to get the phone. Okay.
Oh,
Gosh.
let's see. 3Ham says for me it was an Apple II writing in BASIC in 1984, equipped with a cassette tape drive and green monochrome.
Mm-hmm.
MC3 Cats was an Apple IIe in high school in BASIC. Brylang says the Apple IIe, I learned BASIC, even assembly language.
Ooh.
Boomer 365 says mine first was a TS1000 in BASIC. I ended up programming the thing in assembly. Good old Z80 CPU.
Who's that 80?
Wet Coaster says Hamilton Board of Education computer. I don't know what it was, but it was built before the IBM 360. Fortran program, filled in bubbles on a computer card with a pencil.
Nice.
Wow.
Don't trip and drop your stack of cards on the
Oh,
way to
man. Wanted to know if IHAM wants to know, is that the Commander 16 by the 8-bit guy?
Could be.
No, this is commercially available. It wasn't. Was it? Oh, Gas Station Tuna may get one because it sounds incredible. I can write text adventure games I love.
There you go.
Starcasher says in a high school basic programming class in 1977, it was a telecomputer phone connected to the local tech college.
Nice.
Okay, one more.
Oh.
Boomer says, I had a BBS for 10 years on an Atari.
Oh, there you
Wow. There you go.
Wow. How very cool. Hey, folks, thank you for listening to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Don't forget that you can be part of the show. You can call into 253-693-TFTC, leave us a comment, ask us a question, or help us type in that multi-page program from the magazine any time of the day or night. And, of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. Land Monkey, stop it.
Right.
Your support helps keep quality shows coming. If you like the show, click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website and subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more. Give us a thumbs up or a very coveted review. The show's produced by Chris Umpenauer, Jim Paulwitz, and Jay Kennedy. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Copyright 2021 by Chris Umpenauer. Folks, we hope you stay tuned for
The After Show.
Oh, like he was
Well
there.
done, Jim.
Yeah.
Ooh. Really?
Really
Len? I saw you type in there at the last minute.
Yeah, I know. I waited too late this time.
Okay, let's see. Freiling says, lights, camera, action. We're excited to announce the Geocaching International Film Festival is back for another year of geocaching film fun.
That's
GJIF
cool.
will take place in November 2021.
Hmm.
Look at that.
Mhm.
We might even be able to have events by then. Who knows?
You never know.
Yeah, that'd be something, eh?
Yeah,
Be special.
that would be special. Ah, man, I'll tell you, as soon as we can have events, that first event's going to be crazy.
Yeah. You know, that's one thing we've been talking about, because here we're in phase 3, which means we can have outdoor events up to 50 people.
Okay.
Oh wow.
But the reviewers probably aren't allowing events yet, because how do you control?
Well, there are some events that have popped up.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
So here's the deal: is like, how do we figure the event's going to be big, right? How do we limit it to 50 people? Do we do signups and the first 50 and or do we have somebody there with a counter, a clicker? Tick, 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 I'm sorry,
sorry, you're going to have to turn around. We don't
That's
like
right.
you.
So, it's one of those. I was thinking, well, what if we did it like in a shift, right? So let's say from 10 to 11 is the first shift, and 11:30 to 12:30 is the second shift, and all you have to do is wait an hour, and you can come in. You can't come in now.
Yeah.
When I know one of the
But it's
local
still
ones
only
I
one
saw, the description, the host said, "I will have a logbook. You do not have to sign it."
Mm-hmm.
So,
Or
which
touch
has always been the case, but even more so now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people are at least trying to be responsible with them and stuff. So it's good.
That's good.
It's cool.
Keats 94. This is a new episode of Keats 94 Geocaching Adventure. Goes live tomorrow at 10 a.m. Earth caches, GC8 Neat, and more. Find number 13,000 too. I breached the 100 subscriber mark recently.
Congrats on
Onward
that. Yeah.
and upward.
There
Cool.
you go. Congrats, Keats.
Well done.
13,000 is like on every city block in Toronto, I think. But
Yeah. So Brian, yes, we did already answer that question. That's in the chat. And while we're speaking about things, the Land Monkeys released a new episode as well this morning. So if you're checking out new episodes of vlogs, check that out. And I'm just going to say, keep an eye on the Land Monkey and maybe even Land Sharks social media channels over this weekend. Might be worth your while to just keep your eye there, see what happens.
Yeah.
Well-
Just saying.
That's right. That's blue eye right there.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's one big eye right there.
Yeah.
Well, I know we have to keep our eye on the Land Sharks social media, because there's a contest going on.
that's what I've heard.
Yeah, Saturday. It's coming out on Saturday, on the 10th.
Nice.
Contests. That's Brian says that's one big island, as in Vancouver Island.
Oh,
Very good. Very good.
Folks,
All right.
thank you for joining us tonight. And until next week, get out and get caching in the Northwest.